Let's pick things up there for tonight's Political Insider. Joining me, Jessica Taylor, lead digital political reporter for NPR. Well, Jessica, this is the summer of Trump. Now the Washington Post is reporting that just a few weeks before Donald Trump entered the race, he got a phone call from former President Bill Clinton. People from both camps said Clinton urged Trump to play a larger role in the Republican Party. So is this sabotage? How do you think Trump supporters will react?
I think Trump supporters, you have some very diehard people that are going to be with him, whether this is true or not, that they like what he's saying. And that's one reason you've seen his really momentous rise in the polls. But at the same time, I think Trump's biggest drawback, and what I think you'll see on stage tomorrow night, is that we haven't seen a lot of specifics about him. He'll go up there, he'll talk about immigration and wanting to build a wall with Mexico, but says he's going to make them pay for it, which sounds very unlikely. And on health care, he hasn't offered a lot of specifics. And also to some Republicans, though, that maybe weren't as ferocious Trump supporters, maybe what a lot of pollsters and strategists that I talk to, they see these numbers as just inflated because of name ID at this stage in the primary. If they think that it's the Clintons sort of behind this, that could be a really big red flag to a lot of them.
You know, as we head into the first debate, the presidential hopefuls will have to deal with the Donald. Should they engage or ignore him?
Well, I think that you're going to see sort of the other frontrunners per se trying to sort of stay above the fray, like Jeb Bush and Scott Walker. They don't really have much to sort of gain by going after him. They want to appear presidential. They want to sort of stay above the fray. But then you have other candidates that need some sort of momentum that really can benefit from trying to engage him. Chris Christie and John Kasich, who both just barely made the cut. We've seen both of them be critical of Trump. I would expect to see them sort of try to go after him in some fashion.
Of course, we still have more than a year before the general election. Analysts are predicting Trump will only be a memory by November 2016. Is it too soon to tell if they're right, or does Trump have staying power?
Well, I was looking back today at some of the polls at this point in the 2012 cycle from August of 2011, and the far and away leader then, in the upper 20% then, was Rick Perry, which, as you mentioned earlier, is now in the race again, but he's not even making the main debate stage. So things are very fluid right now. Thursday night will sort of be the first time that I think a lot of voters will actually be tuning in to hear them. And I think a lot of what they know about Donald Trump is they like this sort of tough talk. They're looking for more of that. And they, of course, know him from The Apprentice and his buildings and things, too. So I think that it's still very, very fluid.
Jessica, let's move on to the debate itself. It will last 90 minutes with 10 candidates. They'll almost have to speak in TV sound bites. How can they set themselves apart from the crowd with so little time to make their points?
This is the tough thing about a debate, is you do have to be a politician who speaks in sound bites and to get that message across, and to not sort of have an oops moment like Rick Perry did last time, in a way, that you have to be very on message. We saw that on Monday night when they had sort of a forum that was sort of a rapid fire forum in New Hampshire, not a debate exactly, but here you're going to have a fewer amount of candidates. I mean, when we're talking about the 17 candidate field, they're already getting limited time with, just the 10 candidates on stage. Imagine if it were 17. So you're not going to get, I think, a lot out of it, but I think it will be. We'll see who attacks who. We'll see some people try to, expound on their policies, and really it's everyone's sort of moment to shine.
During a presidential forum earlier this week, 14 Republican candidates spent much of their time bashing Hillary Clinton instead of each other. Will that change tomorrow? Will they criticize each other or Hillary to set themselves apart?
I think it could be a balance of both. I think that you will see, of course, Hillary, to them, as the de facto nominee right now. She's far and away the leader on the Democratic side in most polls. And I think that you will see them certainly try to draw a contrast with that. And of course, Hillary right now, she equals Obama. That you can tie her to a lot of Obama's policies on Iran and a lot of other things going on right now. And of course, her email scandal that continues to sort of plague her has been a big deal as well, that you'll sort of see them hit on. But I think that, they've got to sort of attack and draw contrast with each other, or else they're not going to go anywhere sort of in this contest.
Jessica, real quick before you go, let's talk about the Democrats. The party is set to announce their debate schedule at some point this week, with the first event in the fall. By all accounts, they're a little late to the game. Why do you think party leaders have held off? Are they waiting for more candidates like Joe Biden? Real quick.
Well, I mean, we're still 6 months away from the first voting. So for a Democratic side that only has 5 candidates right now, I think they've still got plenty of time. And, you know, it's not necessary to maybe have as many debates as Republicans do to try to winnow this down. Joe Biden, will see. I mean, I don't know that they're holding out for him, but it certainly would make things more interesting if he did get in.
If you're betting, would you guess Joe Biden is in or out?
I think he will probably look at the long stakes right now and maybe hold off.
I think you're right, too. Jessica Taylor, lead digital political reporter for NPR. Thanks for your insight, Jessica.
Thanks, Morris.